We're bringing Charleston to the world. This is KineticHiFi.com. Broadcasting around the world.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.
Bob Charles.
Oh, yeah, you got the Bob Charles Show right here at www.KineticHiFi.com.
In over 100 countries.
You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
Bob Charles.
The secret of the technology used in the crystal skulls has still not been unraveled.
Bob Charles.
Don't forget, it's our world. Start taking care of it. It's time to think for yourself.
Bob Charles.
Open your heart to reality and to all the misinformation you hear. Just say no.
Get your dose of the Bob Charles Show 7 times a week.
Whoa, you're on the Bob Charles Show right here at www.KineticHiFi.com on Pyramid One Network. The Bob Charles International Show, and that is now being heard in, as of last night, 108. We went up one country. So now it's 108 countries. Welcome aboard. Let me tell you a little bit about the guest that's coming up tonight. Her name is Cheryl Gaer, Barlow. She has been communicating with angels most of her life. Her passion is painting, bronze sculpting, and communing. Actually, I should say communicating with angels. Just like the song says here, calling all angels. Cheryl was told she had been chosen to bring the words of holy angels of God to earth. And that was this reason, or the reason, she had been born on the planet at this time. Knowing she was part of something spiritual and significant, Cheryl wrote down the words of the angels as she received them. The messages Cheryl received were wise, informed, uplifting, and solidified the truth of her experience. The angels gave Cheryl not only words, but also immense feelings and perceptions. Her book, Angels Explain Death and Prayer, Challengings of the Mallbon Angels, explaining that the body dies, but the spirit lives on. May I introduce everybody, Cheryl Gaer Barlow. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
Hi. Did I get that word right? What that word right? Is it
Gear. Gear is it was my maiden name. Yes.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to get it right so everybody knows. You know, I mean, Bob very often sticks his foot in his mouth. So, I mean, hey, listen, that's the way it goes. That last song, though, Calling All Angels, I think they already called you.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, do you have like a direct line to the angel, you know, back door or something? I mean, this is like, I mean, how many times have we all, everybody listening to this show right now, ever been said that you have an angel looking over you? We've all had it.
Everybody has angels with them.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
They're always with you.
And out of that time, what I want to know from everybody, okay, you can raise your hand now. No, that's to the world. You can raise your hand. How many people really believe it? See? I knew it.
It doesn't matter.
I knew it because you know what? Everybody themselves really do, down in their heart, they really, really do believe that there is angels with them.
Good. They should. But it really doesn't matter because when your body dies and your soul lifts, the angels are going to be right there, and they're going to take you to the heavens, and all understanding will be made known. So even if you curse God and curse the angels, and no matter what you do on this earth, every single person will be will see the heavens and be entered into the heavens. And they told me that over and over. So,
all right, all right? Everybody says that when they die, and that if you haven't been doing too good in your life, and that you're going to hell. What you're saying is that doesn't exist.
No, I'm not saying that. I always believed that until the angels told me that there are several levels of hell that do exist, but they're not for us. They're not for these people. And even the most evil, most horrible person on the earth is lifted to heaven, where it'll be a low heaven, of course, but they are giving solace and they spend whatever time is needed in contemplation, and they get direction from the angels and find out what's needed for their soul. And they might spend, well, there's no time in the heavens as there is on earth, but they'll get whatever is needed for their soul, and they go through, what do you call it? They go through a lot of soul searching, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I was going to say
on the other side.
I was going to say debriefing.
It's like that. Yeah,
it's debriefing. This is your life. They show you your life, and you see your life, and you go, okay, next.
But it's not just this life. When you get to what they call the opening of the heavens, it's you can view all your lives. If you had lives here on Earth or on other worlds, or you get to see all eternity, and the soul lives on through. I'm quoting the angels here badly, but I'm quoting them. You live through eternity and infinity, and this life is just one little tiny speck. It's like a paragraph on a page in a chapter in a volume of books. This life is so fleeting, but yet it's important for the growth of the soul through the senses. And they explain all that in this book.
And that's in your book,
Hello?
Angels. I'm here. Just don't watch how you turn with that phone, because you never know. You might not hear me, but I hear you. The book says Angels Explain Death and Prayer, right?
Correct.
So,
but there's a lot of other stuff in there too.
Yeah, well, let's start at the top of it. Tell me about the book, Annette, because from what I understand, that this is what a book that everybody really should read.
Well, the change is in the air. There's a new sacredness coming to the world, and I think it's through the teachings of the angels, because they say no ignorance will be left in the soul when you actually understand the teachings of the angels. There's a whole new generation, and they're beginning to ask questions about themselves about God and heaven and a lot of questions that aren't answered in the centuries-old Holy Bible or other writings that are ancient. And the angels are coming to the earth right now to answer these. This angel, let me tell you about this angel that appeared to me.
Please.
Because this is really going to blow your mind. Okay, this angel filled the entire room with this incredibly vibrant light that was just unbelievable. It was the brightest light I'd ever seen, and it was coming through the window. I know this sounds like something out of Peter Pan, but this really was the truth. And this lady glided down the shaft of light that was coming from the sky, and the light filled the entire room that was so brilliant. And there was also a light emanating from her that was even more so. And, of course, you think when something like this happens to you that you're going to be so calm and collected and everything. Well, I was gasping and shaking and trying to scream, and no sound came out because I was just terrorized. I didn't know what was going on. And she was so beautiful. She was in this long white gown that had shades of lavender waving through it. And she had long, wavy hair. I don't know what color her hair was because the light coming from her head and shoulders was so intense that I couldn't see whether she was a blonde or brunette or anything, but I did see her face very clearly. And she looked like, remember that actress Janet Leigh when she was about 19 or 20 years old?
Oh, beautiful.
That's what her face looked like.
Wow.
And, okay, there's more. She said, "Don't be afraid," and she spoke in the softest voice. She came toward me, and, of course, I was terrified because I thought I was going to die, and she touched me with 2 fingers of her right hand, and then she glided back, and she said that I had been chosen to be the emissary of the holy angels of God on the earth, and that I was to write their words and write the words of the gods in the heavens. And they said, "This is your purpose on earth. This is why you're born on the world at this time." And then she and the light just disappeared. And, of course, I was shaking and gasping, and I didn't know how to handle this. And I all but forgot about this for years and years and years. I got married and had a couple children who grew up to be awesome, of course. And after my divorce, all these words started coming to me. And they kept repeating, "We are the holy angels of God." And now, Cheryl, now is the time to write the book. And other messages, a lot of poetry, and some of it I'd write down on little scraps of paper because I was very, very busy, and this was a really interference on my life, and I didn't want to be bothered with it. But they kept saying this over and over and over, and when things like that come into your mind, you realize that it's not of your own origin. It's actually from outside. And when I put it together with what this message that the angel gave me, I thought, okay, all right, what do you got to say? And their words came as between a thought and a whisper. And they would give me words, and so I started writing them down. And pretty soon I'd amassed about over 1,000 pages of words.
Wow.
And I sent them to several publishers, and they said, "Well, we're not going to publish a book this
that
big,
yeah.
Forget it." So I sent it to Light Technology Publishing, and they were so gracious and so welcoming of the words, and they said they were very honored to publish this book. So I'm really tickled about that. I don't know why I was chosen, except that it was something I had agreed to before I even was born on this planet or something.
So how
That's
many?
my understanding, anyway.
How many pages now is in the book?
How many pages are in the book? Let me check. 200. Yeah, about 200.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
kind of they whittled it down and that so it was more understandable with less reading.
Well, they wanted to concentrate on those two subjects of death and prayer, and they explain all about what happens at the moment of death and right after death and the lifting to the heavens and what happens in the heavens and all that, and all different types of prayer and how to really, really merge with God and really communicate one-on-one directly with God. And this book really gives you an intense spirituality. There's a lot of people that say, well, how can I be more spiritual? But they have no idea, you know.
It's true,
but,
very true.
This book will really answer those two questions. And they're publishing my second book, which will be some more of the writings and a lot of the new writings from the angels, or what I've written down. And I write these words exactly as I receive them, and I don't change them at all. I
Go ahead.
I don't want to. Yeah,
No, don't let any of the book out of the hen house yet.
Okay.
You know, kind of keep it there for now, because I'll have you back in there for that one, definitely. But
okay.
Do you have the comprehensible theories of the death of the body are not valid? What do
I
you
don't
mean?
know what that means.
Yeah.
That's what they told me, and that's what I wrote down. So don't ask me to define that.
All right. But do you think? All right. Let's explore this a little. Do you think that, you see, everybody's theory of death is the end? You know, when you're gone, you're gone. Not thinking a little bit further into it that death is not the death of the person. The person is energy, and the person is also a soul that is energy.
Correct.
That soul, that energy doesn't die. Never dies.
Correct.
Will never die. So what you're actually doing is, and one person that had written me an email that had said, well, are you saying that souls recycle? I said, no. It doesn't mean you recycle. It means you continue.
Correct.
And
you've got a good understanding of this.
But
and it goes on and on for eternity and infinity.
Exactly.
And you don't change your personality. You are the individual that you are right now.
Right, forever. Till the end of time. The only thing is, every time you do something else in a living situation, on another planet, in another universe, in this one, on this earth, it doesn't matter wherever you do it, you've got a mission every time. And you are the one who choose your own mission.
Correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
Boy, you really have a handle on this.
Sorta.
And each experience that you have, whether it be birth or death or loss of a loved one, anything that you go through is all to bring you closer to God. This is the whole thing, is the growth to God and the evolution of the soul.
Yeah, you know, I'm waiting to go into a church and at one time and hear a preacher say half of what I just said. So, I mean, he'd have a whole congregation that freaking out right in front of him. Only because, like, everybody,
that right?
Come on, everybody thinks that we all get older and we die. And I always say, and I'm not kidding because it's the absolute truth. You don't even have to be a scientist to believe it, but you're born to die. You are. You can choose your parents or where you want to be born. But you can't choose where you're going to die, because you're going to die one way or the other. Your body's going to die one way or the other. But you're not.
That's correct.
But you're not. So all of these people that go all, you know, for years and years and years. I mean, even when I was a little kid. I mean, you know, my parents, relatives, everybody else, you know, you go to a funeral, let's face it, I still believe more than anything on the planet, and if I have an angel, then he told me this. You don't grieve for the person who passed away. You grieve for the people that are left behind.
That's right. When people come up to you and you say, well, I lost my aunt a couple days ago, it's just a natural response. You say, oh, I'm sorry. But the truth is, people shouldn't be sorry when people leave their body. If they're leaving an old, diseased, decrepit body, why would they want to stay in the body on this lowly earth? And earth is the lowliest world of any of them that exist out there, according to the angels, and I definitely believe the angels. You grow towards God. You grow to more joy and more happiness and more blissfulness. You should be happy when people leave this earth. Seriously. I mean, the angels see this life and death from a completely different perspective than we see it. We see, oh, well, you're sick, but that's better than the alternative, But no, not necessarily, because leaving this body is just an experience that leads the soul closer and closer to God. And isn't that the whole purpose of everything? Is that you want to look in the face of God?
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, if I ever met God nose to nose, okay, I would go right up to him, put out my hand, and say, I'm really glad to meet you. I'm serious. I would. I mean, that's the kind of person I am. But, this is. I mean, it sounds like sometimes that I'm kidding around, but I'm not. I'm trying to get this through people's thick heads that, things are not only changing, but we have the power that we never had before to realize who, what, when, where, how, and why we are.
Oh, absolutely. And the power of each individual's thought is so much more powerful than they could possibly imagine. The thought from one soul can slow time or speed time. They can change weather patterns. It talks in a little bit in this book about how to use strong, defined, focused thought to help people on the earth and help mankind and help everything on the earth, because every action, every word, and every thought that you send out into the universe goes into the atmosphere. And if you keep high, healthy, focused thoughts in your mind, instead of delving into depression and really low cussing and, just the really low atmosphere of thought, it will really sincerely help the entire world, not just yourself. And you can make your world better by keeping your thoughts healthy. And when you have a low, depressed thought, snap out of it just as quick as you can and do something positive for people. The realization of each soul, and I'm quoting the angels, must occur that the reason he's on the earth at this time is to do whatever is possible to help mankind. And this all starts with thought and words and actions. Be careful what you say. Be careful of the actions that you take, and even be careful of the thoughts that you think, because it affects the world more than you could possibly imagine.
It's really, really funny that you should say that, because I say to people all the time, don't say things about someone or something in a negative way. Or in other words, for instance, I'll give you an example. Say there was somebody that was talking and you just didn't like that person. So you turn around and you talk about that person because you don't like that person because of the way it talks, the way it looks, the way it walks, whatever. But you're still talking in a negative way. Do you know that you could talk all you want to negative about somebody, but you're not hurting that person? You're hurting yourself.
That's right.
You cannot transmit negative energy. You keep it. And you yourself are actually killing yourself, not the other person with those words.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't feel it.
No.
But you're feeling it, and that's why you shouldn't criticize and you shouldn't complain. I know people that just constantly complain. Oh, my leg hurts. Oh, I don't like this TV station. They just go on and on and on. And every time you do that, it goes into the atmosphere and it's hurting the entire world. If you really want to stop wars and bring peacefulness, you've got to change the thought within yourself and really have strong, powerful thoughts and send love and compassion and empathy to people. And it really will change the world. I mean, this isn't just a theory. This is really going to happen, and it will happen someday on the earth.
It's funny you should say that, though, because that's another word in my vocabulary that I throw out there all the time at everybody. That word love. Nobody has any idea, and a lot of the people who listen to the show do know that the world love is bigger than us. It is. It's the consciousness. Love is the consciousness of the entire world in a ball. All of us.
Yeah.
All of us. It's like
that's an interesting way of putting it.
But I'm serious. Make believe. Now just close your eyes for a second. Just imagine what I'm doing here. I'm taking a pile of sand on a beach, and I'm making a pile, like a little pile, like a pyramid kind of pile. Put the whole thing up.
Mm-hmm.
Grab as much as I can in between my two hands, and I just made a snowball out of this sand in the middle of my hands. Okay. Now you're holding the world in your hand. Each one of the thoughts that someone says, I love you, or I love what I'm doing, or I love myself, is in every grain that's in your hand. Now, how many grains of sand do you think is in your hand? Millions. And if that's the case, if we could, in other words, multiply that by more and more and more people thinking that way, that would be one hell of a snowball. Even my dog says
and you
that.
have to make your life as wonderful as you can, because it's not going to count in just this lifetime. This is going to be counted in lives yet to come. And you've got to know the worth of your actions and your thoughts. And it's time for the people of the earth to mature in their lives and become whole, intelligent, compassionate beings. People just tend to think about themselves only and their wealth and their greed. And they have to step outside of this and think about other people in the world. And if everybody did that, if even 10% of the population did this, man, you would have miraculous things happen on this planet.
Of
Sincerely.
Course. Yeah, absolutely. Come on. Could you imagine, just for a second, could you imagine everybody liking each other, which, it's coming. Not right now, but it's coming. And everybody saying to each other, hey, look, let's be friends. Could you imagine war totally, completely stopping in one day?
Yes.
It can happen. It can happen. Nobody gets it through their head. Yeah. I believe it can happen. I really do. I believe that people everybody on both sides of that just say, hey, look, let's cut this out. This is what we want to do. Do you want to do it? No? Okay, fine, good. Everybody goes home. That's it.
If we can't get along with other people in this world and other countries in this world, how are we going to live on higher worlds or with the people in all the different levels of heavens? Because we are the lowest. We are the only world that wars.
Yeah, it's true. It's very, very true. Well, yeah, everybody else grew up, though. We didn't grow up yet.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, but now we're in a different paradigm and everything right now. I mean, we're in a whole other dimension. We're going into another dimension. We're going into crystalline bodies and all this other kind of stuff in it because of the vibrations and the different energies that are changing around us. That is going to change us physically, mentally, and spiritually. Can you imagine?
Well, we've got to open our hearts. And there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in God or don't believe in angels and stuff like that. And this is fine. This is good because this is questioning and evaluating. A healthy skepticism is a good thing. It's the same as an openness of mind to me. That you're evaluating things, you're thinking, you're investigating things, but the angels say we've really got to open our hearts to God. And a lot of people think, well, if we feel, this is not a good thing because we'll be protected. We'll protect ourselves if we don't feel too much. And the angels say it's the opposite, that you have to open your heart, which is tender and delicate, and it's opening your soul. And when you feel any of these emotions like love, gratitude, compassion, any of those deep feelings from inside your soul, you're not sheltering yourself, you're opening yourself up to emotions, and dozens of angels rush in to help you and protect your soul. Your soul is always protected from anything. Nothing can ever hurt your soul. And it opens you to an aliveness that you've never, ever felt before. And it's kind of a trembling. You'll feel a thankfulness. You'll feel compassion and gratitude and a tenderness that you've never, ever felt before. And this book will show you how to open yourself up to God. And this is really experiencing God and really communicating with God. And even if you don't believe in God, at least be open to the possibility of an intelligence higher than yourself.
Yeah, well, you really have to take that into consideration because, I mean, let's face it, there's got to be something bigger than us.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, even if you...
But when you do this, there's a softening of the harshness, there's a gentleness in the movement of the soul, and this reflects in your eyes, in your voice, in all your actions, in intellect. It softens everything in your life, so there's no more hate. There's no more despondency. It can't exist anymore because you're changing and you're growing towards God.
And not only that, but you're also gaining this spirituality as you go.
Yes, through feeling.
Exactly. Now, you
Right.
also said that to tell people about how the book really teaches how to open their hearts to God and gain true spirituality. True spirituality. How is that explained to you by the agents? The angels. How do they, as agents of God, tell you how you should feel spiritually?
Well, it all starts with a thankfulness or a gratitude. And there's a lot of people that say they don't even believe in God, but when something traumatic happens in their life, they find themselves praying to whoever is out there, even if they don't want to call him God. This book explains how to really, really connect with God through thankfulness. And that, be thankful for anyone or anything in your life. And this opens a tenderness and a gentleness and really makes you vulnerable. It opens feelings. I mean, you can't just pray to God and repeat some word or just say amen if somebody else gives a prayer. You've got to feel this in your soul, and it's got to feel in your emotion. And this is the true way to experience God. And it explains all this in the book, but it's all through feeling thankfulness. I guess that's the way it begins. And then it evolves into empathy and compassion, and you really feel like you want to help people. And it tells you how to use thought to send really powerful, focused thought to people to actually help them. You're in a grocery store and you see this lady with 3 kids, and the kids say, she's not on welfare. The kids say, "Oh, Mommy, can we buy this?" And you think, "What?" And she says, "No, I don't have enough money." You'd really like to give her some money, but you don't want to embarrass her, so you don't. This tells you how to send strong thought and picture them healthy and happy and full of food and clothing and everything that this poor person needs. And you feel this compassion and this empathy toward this lady and her children, and you really want to help her. And without saying a word, you can help her through your thought by just sending love to her. And if more people did this, my gosh, there would be so many wonderful things happening on the earth. That's just, even if they don't consciously feel the love that you're sending them. And you can do this to strangers. Unconsciously, they will feel it. And their thoughts will be lifted. And they will be lifted out of a depression or whatever low feelings that they're feeling. They'll be feeling your love and your peacefulness that you're sending and your solace, and their demeanor will be lifted. They'll be happier. And that's all that people are really searching for, is how can I be happier, you know? But you can actually help everybody on earth through your thought and sending your gentleness and your compassion and your wisdom and all wonderful things to them.
Yeah, well, see, that's what no, it's okay. That's okay. But what I was saying before is exactly where you're going. It's the entire world using its own thoughts to be part of the global consciousness. The global consciousness is nothing but a big, big telecommunication business all by itself. If you wanted to think about, for instance, and this is something that everybody's thinking about right now. We have a plane that's missing. That for some reason or another everybody can't find it, and how you can't find a plane, but you can find it. You can find a paper clip on somebody's desk from a satellite, but you can't find an airplane. I give up on that one. But if this is the case, and everybody's really, really worried about these people that are in the plane, or the people that are the relatives of the people that were in the plane, think good thoughts for the plane, for the accident, plus or minus whether it happened or not, and the families. Keep thinking. Everybody, gear up. Even if you did it 30 seconds a day, and think about it, because this ball of energy, of thought, grows. And it takes in other calls, you know. I mean, it's not like you pick up the phone, you dial a number. You just think. That's all you have to do. A long time ago, our civilizations that were on this planet years ago didn't have phones. However, we've got pyramids in Central America just like the ones that are in Egypt. How'd they get there? How'd they get the instructions on how to build it? They thought it there. It was all communications.
Oh, yeah. That's why inventions are often invented at the same time by several different inventors, because Their thoughts are in the consciousness and to be picked up by anyone that's on that same wavelength.
Yeah. How many times did anybody ever say the same thing that they heard somebody else say? You know, like the third party will turn around and say, "Hey, you know, my friend said that the other day." But you don't realize
it's in the air.
Yes. Yes, you didn't realize that you tapped into that consciousness, and your mind, your telepathic how would you say, prowess to that energy and non-stopping education just pulled that one little piece out that you wanted, and you used it.
That's right.
Could you imagine how smart we would be in that if we could do that on a regular basis?
Well, someday there's going to be classes to teach people how to develop their thought into strong, defined, focused thought and feel love, and so that they can live in the highest, finest thoughts, which precede the actions on the earth. And this will occur someday. I think it's too early.
Nope, it's happening. It's happening
in this
already.
low world right now. I don't know.
No, it's happening already.
Is it?
Yes, it is. It's happening right now,
okay.
And that you can practice and learn better. Of course, your intuitive. You know how much your intuition is working for you or with you, and things that we all have it. It's just we don't know how to use it. So someone has to show you how to practice and use it better. And when I first started this show 2 years ago, I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I really didn't. I mean, I got to be completely honest. But after speaking to almost 400 people now, I'm getting the idea. And through all that time, and that speaking to all these people, of course, they all have their little courses and everything else that you try. And of course, I do it all. I mean, if I can read something or if I can go and try something, I do it. And now I have people like Jamie Clark, who is a psychic and a medium, and who's on my show on Mondays. And he's been working me through this. Like, he's been my how would you say, he's got my back, and he helps me along all these little lumps. And I'm telling you something, I have it, I know I have it. I can think, into someone and things, but you got to keep doing it, and it's got to be something that you have a regimen for. I mean, you have to take so much time, during the day. Meditation is a good thing. It can also raise your spirit at the same time. All these things, and I'm sure that there is an angel. This is one of the reasons why I love talking with you. One of the things is that the angel is standing right behind me, and he's helping me, but I don't know it.
Yeah. Oh, most of the help that you receive is from angels, but you're not aware of it. But they're always there to help you all the time, and they want to bring you into deeper joy. And some of these angels have been with you your entire life. I mean, from the second you were born. So, yeah, definitely. But beware. They say that you have to be very careful. There's a lot of spirits, that walk the earth, and they don't give any service to God or to humanity. They walk in the light of the earth, and angels walk in the light of God. So they say, don't ever be distracted by ghosts. When you see this little form of light, I'm sure you've heard your name called in the middle of the night or saw a little ghostly figure in a corner of the room or something like that. They try to attract your attention, and if they can attract your attention, if you can see them or hear them, they will not tell you the truth of things, and you should not spend even a moment trying to communicate with anybody like that, because they can't affect change on the earth. They can't work wonders like the angels can. You have to, if you want to communicate with your angels around you, ask for the highest angel around you to come and communicate with you, and they will do everything in their power to try to communicate with you, whether to show themselves or whether you hear their whispers. in your ear or whatever. I heard angels since I was just a little girl, and this is why I'm not religious. I am not religious. I quit the church when I was a little girl because, well, actually, I was thrown out, I'd say.
There you go.
I went to church with my parents, and the preacher was talking about something. I don't remember what it was. I think it was, unless you're baptized, you can't enter heaven or something like that. And I heard this angel talking, and I could see her beside me, and she was whispering in my ear, and she said, "Cheryl, don't believe that. That is not true." So I stood up on the pew, and I said, "That's not true," as loud as I could, you know.
Oops.
And then, you know, and my mother told me to sit down and be quiet and all this and that. But you know, when you step out of the church and your father shakes the hand of the minister and tells him what a great sermon it was and all this and that. Well, the minister says, "Don't bring her back ever again." So I never went back to any church since that moment. I quit church. I just decided not to be religious at all. I have nothing to do with it. But until this angel visited me, and I saw other angels all through my life, and they're speaking to me and telling me that I have to write these words. And when something like that happens to you, you can't just say, "Well, I don't want to do it." I mean, when an angel of God comes and tells you to do something, don't you kind of have to do it? You know?
Yeah, we had, you know, I'm thinking about this, and it's making me die, I swear to God. It was, you know, you're talking about getting thrown out of school, and that I had a theologian that was giving a class, and that I was in high school, but of course, you know, before you grow into the church and or whatever. I'm a Roman Catholic, so therefore, you know, you have to be confirmed and all these things, and you got to go for these talks. So, all right, so it's after school, and we're in this class and everything, and the first thing they start thinking about in that particular class was they were starting all the way up. They were more or less giving us a review on our whole religion, you know, where it came from, etc. But they started at Adam and Eve. So you've got Adam, you've got Eve, then you have, you know, the sons, and you got the whole 9 yards. And it just keeps going and going and going. Well, when you go through that history, there is a part where one kills the other, and then the other one takes a wife, and it goes on and on. Okay, so I stand up in class, and I say, you know, you're full of baloney. So he says, well, explain. Yes. And he said just same thing you did. And he says, well, explain. And he put me on the spot. So I did. And that was it. I was asked to leave. And the Monsignor of that church, I guess it was 2 or 3 classes after that, he got me back into the class and that. And he said, look, he says, you know, he's this is his mind. He's thinking, you know. So I just kept my mouth shut though from then on in. I just didn't, you know, as long as I needed it and had to do what I had to do in church and that, I was fine. But I'm telling you, I mean, I'm sorry, you know, if you're going to tell, not lie, it wasn't what that he was telling a lie. He wasn't telling the truth. There is a difference. If you color something to sound like people want to hear, then it's a lie because you're not telling them the whole truth.
Exactly, because maybe they didn't know the whole truth.
Exactly.
Like, that's what I'm saying, that these new generations are asking questions that aren't answered in the century-old Bibles or in ancient writings. And they're asking questions and say, well, who did Cain marry? Who did Abel marry? And they're told, well, that's not for us to know. You know, hush, hush. You know, don't ask questions like that, stuff like that. People are asking questions, and the angels have the answer. Every time, I don't even have to ask a question. I think of a question, and they tell me the answer to it. And they talk about adultery and abortion and homosexuality and suicide, and they're answering these questions, and they're intelligent answers, and they're like, oh, okay, I never thought of it like that before. And I have been ridiculed. I've lost a job over talking about the angels. One time I was giving a talk on angels to a luncheon group of women up in Colorado, and this lady came and threw her salad at me, told me I was going to burn in hell, and stormed out. I've been spit on. I've been called the devil, everything. And my gosh, these are just words of angels. They're intelligent. They're inspiring. They're wonderful, wonderful words, but their religion has been so ingrained in them, I guess, from
a child.
From maybe not lies, but what mortal man has deciphered as the truth, that they're not open to anything new.
Yeah, I had somebody write me a note that said I was a what was I again? I was a disciple of the devil or something for what I was talking about, and spiritual this and that. And I did write back to that person, and I said to them, I said, thank you very, very much. I said, for informing me on my what you think. I said I am, but I said I will tell you one thing. I will thank you every time you write a note. And that was it. End of story right there. Now, that person probably jumped out a window after she got the nose, because she didn't get the feelings, or she or he didn't get the feelings that they wanted. They wanted to see somebody that was going to get mad at them. I don't get mad whatsoever. I mean, look, if that's the way you feel, then maybe you just didn't get my whole message.
That's true. That's true.
And if somebody's going to throw something at you or throw salad at you or something like that, they didn't understand either.
Yeah. But like you said, a spiritual change is in the air right now, and these, why on earth would why would I write this book? I don't want to be ridiculed or laughed at and lose my job over this and have people giggle and point at me and stuff like that. I don't want that. Nobody would want that. But the angels made it so clear to me that I had to write this book. Not just once, but over and over and over. And there'll be another book following this one, because the publisher is already waiting for it. And I want to thank Light Technology Publishing, because they've been so gracious to me. And in writing this book, they didn't change the words or anything. They just organized it, But
well, they made it a little bit better.
But I think these are messages that are sacred, and they're from the heavens, and these are messages that have to be out to the people. You were talking about changing the thought and changing the consciousness of man, and if we don't, we've been in this rut for thousands and thousands of years, and if we don't change our ways, the earth can't devolve, I don't think, but it's really going to make a dissension into more and more wars and more pain and more suffering and everything. We really, really have to change our way of thinking. We have to pray with feeling to actually save mankind on earth, not for us, but for our children and our grandchildren and all that. We really have to do this. This is really important.
Oh yeah, there's so much going on. Let's put it this way. From a scientific idea of what's going on with the planet and with where we are in the universe, and from a spiritual side, if we start bringing ourselves up as far as our thoughts, our frequency into our thoughts, our intuition into our thoughts, the planet itself is changing, and it's just going to make it so easy to transfer between being, who knows, maybe being the ordinary person to being somebody that's happy, that loves, that goes through their life and that's saying, okay, It's tomorrow, or what's next, or what do I do, or how can I help you, or what may I do for you?
You can change your thought in just a split second. You can change your whole direction of thought. I mean, you can keep thinking the same thing over and over and over until you get yourself into despondency or thoughts of suicide or bring upon illness to yourself or all kinds of bad things. You know, but all it takes is just a 180-degree change of thought. I mean, start thinking wonderful things. Start thinking wonderful things, not just for yourself, but for other people. And you just be amazed if you stop complaining and stop gossiping about people and stop thinking bad things and, oh, what an ugly dress, and boy, she shouldn't have said that to me, I hate her now, and stuff like that. If you just change your whole direction, and any time a negative thought comes into your head, just stop thinking it right now and think something wonderful and positive and creative for the world. You'll just be amazed how your life is going to change.
Let me ask you something. If there was a message that the angels have for humanity, what would the message be?
Oh, it would definitely be, changing the thought. Let's see, the past is already done. Don't even worry about that. That's done and completed and everything. But it's the responsibility of each soul on earth to lift the quality of thought, and that the thoughts are more powerful and can do so much harm if they're not controlled. And it's especially important for leaders of countries to understand this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're going in the right direction, because let me tell you something. If all those leaders of all those countries took a step backwards and said, gee, tomorrow I'm going to be a nice guy, could you imagine? Wow.
Yeah, I know. If each soul made these changes within themselves, it would radiate to the entire world, and it would bring wonders that are needed on the earth, because this is not something that any person on earth can dismiss. This is not a wonderful wish for mankind. This is a necessity. This is beginning to be a necessity. Man has the power to obliterate all mankind off the earth. And it all starts with changing the thought on earth. And if we don't do that, who knows what negative possibilities could occur.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Now, where can people go to your website and or to go and get a book?
I don't have a website. This is available at Barnes & Noble. It's available on Amazon or through the publisher, Light Technology Publishing. But no, I don't have a website.
Okay. So that would be if they went to find you though in Amazon, what would they look for? In other words,
look up the book, Angels Explain Death and Prayer.
Okay, so they would look that up instead of your name?
Correct.
Okay. Angels Explain Death and Prayer. Now, to everyone that's listening, it's in the blog in pyramid1network.com. The name of the book is in the blog. So if you want to find out where to get it or how to get it or where to go or where to look or whatever else, it's in the blog. As a matter of fact, tomorrow this show is going to be in that blog. So get a copy of the show. It'll fatten your thoughts for sure.
Oh, okay.
So, Cheryl, thank you very much for being on the show. It has been an honor. And let me tell you something. When we talk about angels and that on this show, let me tell you, I know that they're looking down here and they're going, oh, about time.
Well, thank you very much. It was an honor to be on this show. And I hope everybody, I welcome any criticism, but all I ask is that you read the book first and then criticize me any way you want, and I'll be happy to respond. So
there you go. So thank you very, very much, and you have a great evening.
You too. Thank you for calling. Bye-bye.
All right. Now, to everybody out there, let me tell you something. This is www.kinetichifi.com. This is www. Pyramid One Network, and this is the Bob Charles International Show, heard global 6 times a week. Let me tell you, it's our world. Let's start taking care of it. It's time to think for yourself. Open your heart to reality, and to all the misinformation you hear, just say no. Time as we know it is changing. Don't forget, you can write to us anytime by sending your comments, your information, your asks. If you want a copy of the show, send it over to BobCharlesShow@live.com, or you can now send it over to Pyramid One Network at live.com. Thank you to all the networks that make this an international show. First of all, we've got Knock Hard Radio, New York's best international channel. Bandit Radio FM, the best in the West. And you know what? They are the best all over the West, all the way out to California. Mixed Network, mixing world energy around the world, and www.wbad.net in Washington, D.C., which you will hear this show on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 o'clock in the morning to 1 o'clock in the afternoon every Tuesday and Thursday. And on Sunday, don't forget to listen to the Tom and Susie Show live on WBAD Radio. Monday through Thursday, you can listen to the Bob Charles International Show just by clicking on Pyramid One Network and listen to the show. A special thanks to the radio station that powers this. Kinetic Hi-Fi Radio, the #1 informative, educative community station heard global in over 107 countries in South Carolina. God bless y'all. Bob Charles.